it is a protest without a demand, which means it's not a protest, it's a parade.
The new King Parade.
They had the No Kings rally. And, I've already talked about it once before on the show with Mel K. And it was those rallies are there to make sure America stays divided. They're there to make sure that America hates half the other country. They're there to make sure no progress gets made against the oligarchy or the establishment. And it's another way to take your not revolutionary, but maybe even revolutionary, but your energy that you would have to oppose the oligarchy and funnel it back into a pro-war, anti-worker party, which is what the Democratic Party is. So they made no demand, not one demand. So when you have a rally, just like they had the women's rally in 2016 after Trump was elected, and there was the biggest rally, it was for nothing. It was nothing. So when if you have a protest, you're supposed to have a demand.
A point.
And a point. So that's what was wrong with Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert when they had their big rally in 2010 or whatever that was. And Bill Maher correctly said, hey, if you're going to have a rally, why don't you have a point? And there was no point. Just like these rallies. These rallies, there's no point whatsoever.
Andrew Yang over here?
What's that?
What am I, Andrew Yang over here with my no point movements?
Right, exactly. And so a lot of people are catching on to this, right? So the video we did with Mel K about it, about this subject, did very well. And it's good to see that some people at least realize that these are astroturfed. These are astroturfed rallies or protests. They're about nothing. They're to make you make sure that you don't do anything, and that the status quo maintains, and to keep you hating half the country. Because if you stay divided, the oligarchy and the establishment will never be threatened, and things will never change. So here's what I like. This somebody named Fanatic. I don't know what's wrong with me today, but Fanatic says, no kings, but put your mask on. No. By the way, before we even get into this idea that Donald Trump is a king and a dictator and he's gotten rid of all the rules and norms, why do you think the country's locked down right now? It's because he can't just dictate what he wants, because there's a system of checks and balances. And right now we have three co-equal branches of government. So nobody can be elected president and just declare himself king and then order by dictate, because that's not happening. Right now, the government's locked down because the Democrats actually have power and they have leverage. And that's why the government's locked down, because there's a check on the executive branch. There's a check on Donald Trump. He can't just open government up, declare what laws he wants passed, and have it be. So this whole thing, from its jumping off point of no kings, is ridiculous.
Why? Just because he was elected by clear majority?
Here we go. No king, but put your mask on. No kings, but lock us down. No kings, but I'm firing you for not vaccinating. No kings, but you can't go outside. No kings, but you need 57 boosters. No kings, but we're shutting your business down. No kings, but you can't worship. No kings, but your family members are going to die alone. No kings, but I'm opening a hotline so you can snitch on your neighbors. No king, but mandates out the wazoo. No kings, but social distance at 6 feet apart, based on nothing, completely made up by Dr. Fauci. No kings, but no family gatherings over 10. Again, made up. There was no science on this. Spare me, you hypocritical scum. Well said, Fanatic. That's exactly right. Well said. Here's Nancy Pelosi. She went to the No Kings thing, and she brought a crown with her. And I like what Bad Hombre says. Bad Hombre says she's 86. She's been in Congress for 37 years. Made over $200 million.
Oh, my. That's disgusting.
While in office. And she's filed to run for re-election in 2026. But she's against kings, even though we obviously don't live in a democracy. We live in an oligarchy. And she's bought by the oligarchs, which is why she stayed in power for 40 years.
Do you have the shut up button of her so you can play it after she talks?
Did we put the shut up button on?
Her saying shut up.
No, we'll do it.
She
puts no crown, no kings.
Okay.
But here's what
tear up the crown.
Whoa! About nothing. We don't have a king in this country. Trump's not a king, which is the Democrats are checking the power of him and the Republicans right now by shutting the government down. This is all made up, and again, it is a protest without a demand, which means it's not a protest; it's a parade.
The new king parade.
It's not a parade. It's not a protest. There's no. They weren't protesting anything except we don't like Trump.
Yeah, there's no policy that they're trying to celebrate and get initiated. You know, Jimmy, I think it's kind of interesting that the whole time that Kamala Harris was running for office, they loved calling her queen.
Queen. That's right. No kings, but loads of yes, queen.
Oh my God, you're right. They called her queen, and her thing was "I'm talking." That's her slogan.
So. Professor Zenkis wrote some nice Twitter thread about it. And Professor Zenkis gets lots of things wrong, right? Lots of things right. Some things wrong, just like everybody. But this time, I think he's on it. He says, I attended in New York today, meaning the no queen. Some thoughts. But he was left feeling a bit perplexed. Amanda Seals says it best. These are rallies, not protests. Rallies are for rallying around an idea or a team. And that is a time of concerted celebration or information sharing. There are no clear demands being made or no clear actions being asked of the attendees. None. Just like the Women's March.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
If you're having a protest, you have to have a clear demand and ask the people to take clear action.
Pussy Hat was my demand.
Pussy Hat was the Women's March.
Mine's dried up.
Protests are different. Protests are meant to demonstrate the might of the people to the powers that be. It's supposed to make them shook. It's important that we identify what actual resistance is. You're actually part of a controlled opposition, not organized opposition, and the two are not the same.
Is it opposition? We don't have kings here. I mean, how are you dividing us on a thing we all agreed nobody wants to have?
Right. Everybody agrees we don't want a king. That's right. But they're actually controlled. The people at those rallies are controlled opposition. They're not actually actual opposition. First of all, the protests asked everyone who wanted to attend to register in a database. What? Sounds to me like that's a fundraising scam. That's what that sounds like.
What is this?
They can only get full details of the rally start time and exact location if they register. This is concerning on two levels. First, your information. First of all, it's an obvious fundraising tool for the Democrats. Once they have your information, they'll use it to flood you with emails and texts asking you for money. That's exactly what they're going to do. Exactly. Where is it? Secondly, and more seriously, in an age of surveillance and an administration that is vowing to go after their political enemies. By the way, they did it last time too. Quit pretending this is new. I'm talking about Biden administration. Completely went after their political enemies. I
don't think Trump goes after his enemies enough. He seems to have them close
I wish he
to
would
him.
go after them more. Why isn't Fauci in jail? Why more of those people should be in
Why
jail?
is Lutnick next to you, Trump?
Right.
Those are your enemies, stupid.
Secondly, the more seriously, in an age of surveillance and an administration is vying to go after their political enemies, this puts people in a precarious and possibly dangerous position. When we occupied Wall Street, we did not ask people to register. When we had Black Lives Matter rallies, there was no database. It's a complete BS to have one.
Well, there was a database. The undercover FBI people that were pretending to and pushing Black Lives Matter along have it. Don't worry, Professor.
But this could have been, if you want this could have been a great opportunity to bring back the king from Burger King.
Oh man, that's a great
Remember those
idea,
ads? A guy wearing a giant airy king head mask. If he walked up to the rally and handed out Whoppers, could have went viral. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, they're all dancing, no kings, and then the king from Burger King shows up with sunglasses.
Wow, we should have did that. What were we thinking?
Netanyahu's favorite brand is Burger King too. You could have a lot of synergy.
But you don't get how today's version of a liberal works. They aren't there to solve the problem. They just want to run into each other again.
That's
It's a giant selfie with interchangeable placards of what the cause is that day. That's all.
And I can promise you, Jimmy, 90% of them, especially the women doing the choreographed dances, they stayed up late to watch the royal wedding of Kate Middleton
no doubt
and Prince
about
William.
it. No doubt about it.
I promise you, I know for a fact that's true.
No doubt about it. Secondly, the No Kings rallies were only 2 hours long. 2 hours. For real.
That's Hollywood for you.
If you get there after the start time, you may be lucky to only have an hour holding your sign and expressing your discontent with the current state of the nation. I've never been to a protest in all my years of activism that had a 2 hour limit. 2 hour limit. That's right. So they missed Woodstock, but they're not missing this one, goddammit. I'll tell you that. It's a
Woodstock 99.
I don't remember Martin Luther King Jr. ever saying, we must sacrifice, we must protest. But when we protest, we must only do it for 2 hours.
Well, this is like the old FBI protest of no kings when they killed him, you know?
Yeah. There were no demands, not one. Nothing. People simply held signs saying how much they hated Trump. I mean, sure, it makes sense, but no demands on what to do about ICE or health care or, God forbid, the continuing genocide and occupation in Gaza, because it's still going on. So it's a rally about nothing. It's like if Jerry Seinfeld did a rally.
Or Jon Stewart.
The thing that really got to me was that all these limits, having an official sign up to be part of it, but only for 2 hours of protest, is that it seems designed to limit and control opposition to the Trump administration simply to saying, we don't want Trump. The absence of any clear demands made at all showed that the organizers did not want there to be demands on policy and wanted to limit how people express their opposition.
Well, they wanted to reduce it to emotional arguments purely. Everybody loves that, to take it to high school emotions. And when you had Chris Hedges on way back, because he didn't like BLM or any of those marches, and he goes, these are not supposed to be catharsis. You're supposed to get something done.
Yes.
It's not supposed to be you venting your day of rage. That accomplishes nothing.
So there were also people going around reminding everyone to vote for Democrats and not to allow their friends to vote third party or not vote at all. One woman came up to me saying that and followed it with, it's just not acceptable to vote third party.
At the No Kings rally, they want to limit the amount of choices of voting.
Wow.
They're brilliant.
So there was a demand, I guess, and demand was you stop participating in actual democracy and voting your conscience. So I guess that was a demand. But they just kind of put it into No Kings, which nobody really knows what that means. Maybe it's got something to do with lesbians.
I hope not. My girl said the best. She goes, okay, no kings. I went to sleep and I woke up. All I can remember was no kings. A viral Edward Bernays evil into your subconscious thing. You should go, oh, Trump is bad. But again, this is one of the clumsiest, because you can't actually make any substance in it. There's no teeth.
There's nothing.
So it's just nonsense dancing.
All right, let me go back. When I attended protests in New York City over wars and military action, racial injustice, or income inequality, we didn't have permits. We didn't have a time limit. We didn't stand perfectly on the sidewalk holding a sign waiting for someone to honk. We took to the streets. We were disruptive. We made people in power worried. I know this because of the way the powerful reacted.
Yeah.
So again, if you're at a protest that has no demands and is sanctioned by the police, you're not at a protest, you're at a rally, you're at a parade.
It's not a rally, it's a parade, Jimmy. That's a great way to put it.
During Occupy Wall Street, there were a number of uber capitalists writing articles or being interviewed on how this was a warning sign for capitalism. Protests are supposed to make people in power worry. Protests are designed to make the comfortable uncomfortable. When racial justice protests happened in New York City to try to get the Civil Rights Act passed in 1964, the activists literally sat down and blocked traffic on the Brooklyn Bridge for hours on end. Rosa Parks didn't refuse to give her seat up for only 10 minutes. She simply refused to give it up at all.
And by the way, the Rosa Parks protests had a big degree of planning to them. I don't think that makes them bad in any way. They had astroturfers in there reenacting it on buses, which is great, but it did a real thing and it was for a specific thing.
What these protests seem to be doing is, by their very existence, drawing the lines that narrowly define what dissent against this administration must look like. Don't talk about the genocide. Don't talk about defunding ICE. Don't talk about Medicare for all. Just say how much you hate the guy in the White House and call him a dictator. But for the love of God, do not criticize specific policy. Don't criticize the $200 billion extra that he gave to the Pentagon, or that the government gave to the Pentagon. Don't do that. Don't demand that we close the 1,000 military bases we have around the world for no other reason but to extract resources from poor, weaker countries to give to our economic hitmen in the United States. Don't do that. Don't protest the war coming in Venezuela that Trump is pushing right now, the overthrow of that government. Don't do nothing, because the people who are astroturfing this are on board for everything Trump is doing in that regard. And they don't want that. So anyway, people seem to enjoy themselves. It admittedly did feel good to be holding a pro-immigration sign that I bought. But again, nobody's against immigrants. People are against illegal immigration. Nobody's against legal immigrants. America loves immigrants.
It's built on immigrants. We need to know who's coming in. Just because,
right. I got to take my shoes off at the goddamn airport.
Yeah.
But we're going to let 20 million people in the country and have no idea who they are, where they came from, or where they're going.
With IDs that say no name given. That's a real thing, not a made-up thing like you would think.
Back to this. So everybody's for immigrants. It's just nobody. How you could be for having a porous border. Even Dennis Kucinich says you got to lock down the border. So everybody, and he's pro-immigrant.
Bernie used to say it.
Bernie Sanders used to say it. So again, that's a kind of anyway. But it wasn't a protest. At the end of the day, they called this event at 2 hours on the dot. And mostly everyone went home, except for me, a friend, and about a dozen other people who stayed on. And all of us, with the exception of one, were talking about Palestine. We're talking about immigration policy. We're talking about issues. I think that's great.
We're moving away from that.
We're moving away from that, Professor.
Okay, boomer, with your issues.
Well, come on. Nothing says you're serious about a movement like wearing your vagina on your own head. Come on. The one who stayed on and wasn't talking about those things actually shared her displeasure at our conversation, turning to how we cannot go back to status quo, how Kamala Harris and Joe Biden effed up. She said this kind of talk was unhelpful.
Not as helpful as a No Kings rally that nobody knows what it is.
Nothing less helpful than a No Kings rally. Unhelpful? I just read today that Israel is keeping the Rafah crossing closed because they are. And that they shot and killed another 11-year-old yesterday because they did. They're bombing like crazy again. They broke the ceasefire. Shocker. This time in the West Bank, but unhelpful to talk about these things. And it's definitely unhelpful to protest them. So next time, don't just hold your sign saying no kings and Trump resigns. But whatever you do, don't even mention the horrible things he is doing, especially regarding Israel and Gaza. And don't ever dare mention that sometimes Democrats do them too. No, most of the times.
When have they not done that?
Most of the time.
Kennedy got killed by the deep state, have they?
Let's remember that Barack Obama deported 3 million Hispanics. And most of them without due process. Just keep that. And he built those.
Trump's not going to hit Obama numbers of deportations.
He's not I'm
upset.
He is not going to hit Trump's. He's not.
But it's on Mark's interview with him. Mark Maron, they get into it. It's really great. I'm kidding.
Here's what I know. Here's what Dirty Lowdown Rebel says. I was at the 1999 WTO protests. Remember those? We shook the ground and ruined Clinton's little crypto-fascist shindig. This No Kings crap is like some made-for-TV production in comparison, which is exactly what it is.
It's a response to what you did. Yeah, you did upset them. And that's why they made sure that, much the way TikTok is owned by Ellison now from Oracle, they wanted to make sure they own the thing that you were using to make them feel unsafe.
And for the record, though, this No Kings rally, which was not a protest by any means, it did hold the record for the most vaccinated group of protesters in history.
Oh, well, there you go.
Even Trump was thanking them. Hey, a huge thank you to all the No Kings protesters yesterday. I was concerned that King was trying to take my place, but thanks to your tireless efforts, I am still your president. Great job.
I mean, are you guys just like giving him layups right and left? Because that's a great.
I don't even know.
Did I write that for Trump? Because that's great.
I don't even know if that's real, but even if it isn't, it's fantastic. I saw that on Twitter because Trump doesn't go on Twitter. He goes on Truth Social, which I don't even know how to access that. Yeah. And so that's I saw, even if it's not real, that's great. I like this. So this is Reject Genocide said the sole purpose of Democrats is to co-opt and destroy any tangible movement for change. We know that. That's what Barack Obama was there for. That's what AOC is there for. That's what Bernie Sanders is there for. That's what Zoloft Mondavi's for.
Well, they want change, just not anything you want. They have their ideas of what they're going to change you into.
They want to change the identity politics and make them stronger. They want to make you more woke, but nothing that actually. So when Occupy Wall Street happened and the Tea Party happened, those were two groups of people from the left and the right that were complaining about the same thing. Wall Street screwing over our economy and our country being run by billionaires and oligarchs at the big five big banks, and they wanted them broken up. And so what did they do immediately? The establishment. They instituted identity politics, woke politics, and calling everybody racist, homophobic, and sexist. So they keep us fighting culture wars because we were coming together to fight an economic war, and that's what this is more of. This is not about economics. This isn't about raising people's pay or getting manufacturing back in the United States or strengthening unions or strengthening or making healthcare affordable or ending the wars and investing that money back here. Or the genocide, stop funding a genocide. It's about nothing. Nothing. And Americans keep falling for it year after year, generation after generation.
Yeah.
And show up armed to the teeth next time, and as soon as a shitlib Pied Piper takes the stage, mow them down. Well, I'm against that. I'm certainly against that.
And I don't like the anti-Semitic name title he has. Reject Genocide.
It's very anti-Semitic. But he tweets out this thing: the ratchet effect. How are you being duped by the fake two-party system? So Republicans turn everything to the right a little. Democrats block movement back to the left. So this is called neoliberal. So the liberals aren't liberal, they're neoliberals, which means they're corporatists, which means they're anti-worker and pro-war.
And that's what
the Democrats are. And they're very similar to Donald Trump in that regard.
They're just fighting.
They're not fighting against the $200 billion extra he gave to the weapons manufacturers, the military-industrial complex. They're not fighting against him continuing to fund the war in Ukraine, continuing to fund the genocide, or right now trying to overthrow another sovereign country, another regime change war in Venezuela, which Tulsi Gabbard called out Trump in 2019 for it, but now she's not saying anything. They're not none of that. So that's what this is. This is real. So that's why workers are struggling. We're getting rid of the middle class. How about you have a rally to strengthen the pay for workers? How about you have a rally to strengthen unions? How about you have a rally to lift the wages of everybody in the country so we get a bigger percentage of the productivity? So it's not. So that's why there's no middle class anymore. We have rich and poor because the Democrats, the neoliberal, they're not liberals, they're neoliberal, are there to make sure that the banks, that the oil companies, that Silicon Valley, big pharma, and insurance companies run our country. Barack Obama didn't give us a healthcare plan. He gave us a giveaway to the health insurance and big pharma. That was not a healthcare plan, which is why everybody can't afford healthcare anymore. Barack Obama didn't stop George Bush's wars. He expanded them. He took us from 2 wars to 7. Barack Obama... I could go on and on. He took away, he prosecuted journalists, but using the Espionage Act. More prosecutions than all the presidents combined before him. Of course, this will never get brought up in a Mark Maron interview, but I get it.
I'm surprised Mark's not on top of that because of his scruples about Saudi Arabia.
He's got a lot of scruples. Anyway,
just to disagree with reject genocide with you don't have to do any violence. Stop consenting. It's called manufacturing consent.
Consent.
So don't consent to the shit. Don't wear your mask. All the dumb shit you consent to like a cow. Just stop. It's not violent.
You don't have to be violent. Good post. To me, the No Kings protest is an instrument of the Democratic Party, giving their voters a way to express discontent, but it's completely void of an alternative or a demand. Just another empty fundraising tool for the party of no ideas and no vision. Yeah. Way to go, Dr. Fishbones. Way to go.
It's old ladies watching TV preachers and soap operas, basically. And that's what this is going to be. A bunch of old cat ladies, and it's going to be their TV preacher. And here's this bullshit.
And here's the ultimate irony, Kurt. So here's Mark Carney, the new prime minister, the international banker who's there to screw Canada and their workers.
Triple passport holder, Mark Carney.
Triple passport holder, Mark Carney. Here he is. Mark Carney's pledging his allegiance to King Charles III. The King of Canada, yet protests in Canada he attended the No Kings protest.
You got to be shitting me.
Mark Carney, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty, King Charles III, King of Canada, his heirs and successors.
But he went to a No Kings rally. I thought he didn't like kings, but here he is pledging allegiance to the king. By the way, here's the opposition in Canada pledging allegiance to the Queen. Swearing, there's Pierre Polivier over here. He says swearing loyalty to the Queen in service of the common. There he is. That's him. Swearing So this is my favorite. Get a load of this, Kurt. Ready for this? So, again, I don't have to explain it to you anymore. Professor Zenkis explained it well. I've explained it before with Mel K on this show. If you went to a No Kings protest, you weren't in a protest, you're in a parade, and it's there they can control you. You are now officially controlled opposition. But who are you controlled? You're controlled by the billionaires who control the Democratic Party. Nobody was, and just keep this in mind. I saw a picture yesterday of RFK and his wife Cheryl Hines sitting coach on an airplane, right? And at the same time, you have to remember that AOC and Bernie Sanders are flying in private jets going to their against the oligarchs rallies. Just to keep that in mind.
Jimmy, there's a great argument, but keep in mind. Anyone that heard the phrase "No Kings" and didn't immediately go, "That's the dumbest nonsense I've ever heard," is not going to understand your argument. That's just a fact.
Okay, well, now we have to. I want to remind everybody. We'll see you in Australia. We have made this. We've added tickets to every show, so if you couldn't get tickets before, you can get them now. I'll see you the day after Thanksgiving. It's a Friday in Burbank. Get your tickets. That show always sells out. We do it every Friday, the day after Thanksgiving in Burbank. At the Flappers Comedy Club, and then we'll be in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, and then in January we're going to be in Waikiki at the Blue Notes. Beautiful. Hey, why are elite athletes, business moguls, and high performers using Armra colostrum? Armra colostrum is nature's first whole food with over 400 bioactive nutrients working at the cellular level to build lean muscle, accelerate recovery, and fuel performance, all without artificial stimulants or synthetic junk. Whether you're running a business, training hard, or just want an edge, Armra optimizes your body for peak output. We've worked out a special offer for our audience. You can receive 30% off your first subscription order. Go to armra.com/Jimmy or enter Jimmy to get 30% off your first subscription order. That's armra.com/Jimmy. Come see us in Australia. Second show's added in Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. We'll see you in Burbank, California, the day after Thanksgiving. It's a Friday. And then Pottstown, Pennsylvania, December 6th. Plus, January 11th, we're going to be in Waikiki at the Blue Note. Tickets not available yet for them, but go to jimmydore.com for a link for all the other tickets.